Alright, hello and welcome to another Why Would You Use? So today we're going to be talking about the Tiberon Prime. So the Tiberon Prime is the new rifle that came with the Zephyr Prime access, and it is quite good. I've already spent quite a bit of time with it already, and I think it competes for kind of top slots with a lot of the other ARs in the game. And its unique feature is not, I guess, super unique, but it has 3 fire modes, in that it has first, as you would expect of a Tiberon, it has semi-auto, which we'll talk about a little more in a second, and it has full auto, which is probably the weirdest one, I would think, for this to have. With that, the build that I'm using is pretty basic. I've gone with corrosive, as I think corrosive is what you're going to benefit the most from in general, specifically because this weapon really hates ancient healers. It hates it when they're around, and the corrosive also is very anti-armor, of course. With that, the differences between all of your fire modes is that your burst fire is very balanced. It has quite good status and has very good crit stats. Semi-auto will reduce some of your status, and when I say some of, I actually mean most of, because the drastically reduced fire rate is, of course, going to affect you more than the difference between 42% status and 39% status might suggest. But you get slightly better crit stats. Those slightly better crit stats, I think, are not worth it, as honestly, the difference between 6.6 crit multiplier and 7.5 is not that much whenever you're not getting as many corrosive procs and things like that. And of course, even along with that, having less chances to proc hunter munitions is very bad. So right now, I would say semi-auto is probably the weakest of the fire modes. It could really use something like punch through to push it up to where the other two are, I think. And then finally, we come to full auto, which has a much lower crit stats, but still totally serviceable numbers, and much better status, which is very good for low-level enemies, in that low level means like level 60 in this case, or just general fodder enemies, even up into like low 80s, I'd probably say. With that, let's show it off. Obviously, that build I just showed has one more form of use than is needed because I have a ribbon for this that I would usually be using, but of course I didn't use my ribbon in testing, as that is useless information to have. So yeah, normal level 50 test, as to be expected, and then we're going to show this against some level 150s so that you can get a feel for it. So along with me not thinking that the semi-auto is worth it, I tend to just entirely avoid it. And this is one of those situations where the full auto is very good against your baby schmuck enemies. And part of the reason I avoid the semi-auto is because the burst fire is a fucking laser beam as it stands. Like, you don't really need, like, more accuracy. Oh, that guy's already dead. He died from the slash procs when I shot him earlier. You don't really need more accuracy, and, like, the enhanced status is great, and you already have plenty of crit stats on your burst. So in general, like, semi-auto just doesn't really do it. It's just not really giving you what you need. So yeah, this performs, as expected, very, very well on level 50 targets, as you would expect of a weapon with MR this high, and now we'll show it against level 150 enemies, where it will perform better than you might think, I would think. It's actually, like, pretty far up there, honestly. As long as you're eating headshots, which, like I said, this weapon is a damn laser beam, so you can get your hunter munitions on and really, really work through some armor with some not even, like, difficult to get headshots. It's pretty simple. Like, plain and simple, like, minus hunter munitions, obviously this test would look a lot fucking different, because that is what is helping ARs compete, period, right now. But, like, these are totally serviceable kill times, especially because usually, obviously, at level fucking 150, you're going to be using a Warframe that can buff you if you're going to be shooting a gun at all. So yeah, really serviceable there. Right alongside, like, Dexiberus, and even has a faster kill time in many cases, specifically against weaker high-level enemies, or I say weaker, but what I really mean is non-armored. And that's in the case where I'm testing it against the Dexiberus, which is using a viral build with a Prime mod. But I feel like this weapon is just better with corrosive in general. But yeah, that is the Tiberon Prime. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a little basic, obviously, being like an AR, but it can be whatever you want it to be. Like, if you really love the Latron series and you're looking for something new, then the semi-auto is going to speak to you, and that's just fine. Even if the semi-auto is maybe not the best thing on this weapon, it's still going to do you just fine in Sortie 3 or wherever you happen to take this. So yeah, that is the Tiberon Prime. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I should be getting the Cronin Prime video out tomorrow, so I will see you then.